Part of me wanted to say yes and embark on this journey with you. But as I look into your eyes, I know that I'm faced with a truth that we both have to acknowledge. That there's still mountains left for us to climb and lessons for us to learn before fully embracing a lifelong commitment.
I have to say that as a first time round, this wasn't a bad experiment. As a first time round for the UK anyway, for them Love is Blind UK, because they had a 50% marriage rate. 50% said no, 50% said yes. Am I surprised with the couples that said yes? No, not really. Not really. Benaya and Nicole were always going to be a yes. Well, Benaya was going to be a yes. With Stephen and Sabrina, they seemed like they were going to be a yes anyway because they were the first couple to be revealed. And then Jasmine and Bobby, as much as I didn't know about them and we didn't get to see them as much, they were always going to be a yes in my opinion. And then the three couples that said no, Maria and Tom for me were a yes. And sadly for Tom, I think his mum and, this sort of lifestyle that he wants are the two things that hindered him saying yes. And sadly, he's lost on a love that he would have enjoyed for the rest of his life. Am I surprised that Ollie and Demi and Freddie and Catherine said no? No. I would have expected them to say yes had they swapped partners. So had Freddie ended up with Demi and had Ollie ended up with Catherine, then they would have said yes, in my opinion, because then that would have been better. Otherwise, in their current state, no. But anyway, I digress. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. Welcome to my channel. It's Valerie. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love is Blind UK, Season 1, Episode 11. It's a bit surprising that the people that are saying no are the ones that are getting to go first. Is it because the producers don't want the others to face the shame of having said yes and then someone rejecting them in public? I don't get it. Do I believe that Demi should have said no? Yes. I think there's a lot of issues with Ollie. I think there is a lot of growth that he needs to do. I always questioned whether he was 100% for her. He seems to have a stronger connection with Aaron than he does with Demi. And for him to ask in front of everyone why doesn't make sense. Apparently, he didn't maintain communication with her when they separated. So I don't get why suddenly he's aggrieved or why he's surprised that she said no. Do I agree she should have chosen herself? Yes. Am I sad that she didn't or we didn't get to see her other connections in the pod? Yes, because I think she would have been better off with someone like Ollie. I think should have even been better off with someone like Aaron. So I don't get why she only connected with Ollie or why Ollie was her top. Because we didn't get to see her second option, because everyone normally has a second option. So we didn't get to see her second option. So I don't know why we didn't get to see that. Ollie had a conversation with Aaron and you were saying, I'm happy that at least we didn't go through the marriage and then end up getting divorced. That's a different way of looking at it. But at the end of the day, if you really liked this woman as much as you say you did, you should have maintained communication. They leave it at a stance of whereby, we're still in love, but we need time. And it's like, that's the same thing Tom said about his connection or his relationship with Maria. Either end things or keep it moving. That's it. So if you're going to say to me no today, say no and we move and we both go our separate ways. Don't say no and then keep me on a leash. This is the same thing that happened to that girl. What's her name? SK, and what was her name? I actually followed her after the show. Whereby SK kept her on a string only for rumors to start coming out at the end of the day that, he was dating this person, he was dating that person, he was dating that person. So I really hope if these people are saying we need more time, then they actually need more time and they're not just saying it for the cameras. So next wedding is Jasmine and Bobby. Jasmine and Bobby for me are a bit of a wild card in the sense that, yeah, I know Jasmine said, she really likes this guy. He says he really likes her. I know they had a conversation with Jasmine's mom who wasn't on board with this. And there's nothing sort of emotionally attaching me to them as a couple. I don't know what I want to say. It's like when you look at couples like Benaya and Nicole, you just feel, this emotional attachment to them. You really care for them and you have empathy for them. Whereas with Bobby and Jasmine, I don't know whether it was seeing her tell off Ollie or something. Something is a bit off. Anyway, you have Bobby who's talking about his cousin that has since passed and how he was a role model for him and how, his presence is being felt. They have beads. He has his cousins. And I think he had a brother in there as well who was part of his groomsmen. And so he was very emotional. He was very reflective on his situation at the moment of where he is and what's about to happen to him. Jasmine, on her part, she is very distressed, for lack of a better word, because apparently, I'm happy this took place off camera because it would have been a bad luck if they both said yes. Because apparently she had a conversation with her mum. Her mum is worried that, financially Bobby might not be in the best space to sort of provide for her. He's a shopper. I think he's a personal shopper or something like that. So maybe her mum can't place value on that job and she would have preferred, her daughter marry somebody else. It seems to have really affected Jasmine because she's saying, this is playing on her mind and sort of wanting to sort of affect her decision. She tells her bridesmaids and they all are just sort of silent about it. I think they know her mum. I think they know how she is. I think they know how she talks. And some people are just, brutally honest. And I think her mum is one of those with a capital B when it comes to the brutally honest. So when her mum arrives to see her, you can tell that there's tension in the room. There is tension. And Jasmine is doing this as an act of defiance, I think, against whatever her mum has said, because she says she's always sort of followed everything her mum has wanted her to do. And this time she has to do what's best for her, which good for her. If it works, amazing. If it doesn't work, amazing. She cannot blame her mum for forcing her to do this. I liked Bobby's sitting down with his mum and his sister, sort of having a conversation and thanking them for all the sacrifices they've made and the fact that they've welcomed Jasmine into the family. It's sad we didn't get to see his mum. I don't remember seeing his mum or his family meet Jasmine. I think it would have been nice. Maybe it went too smoothly. This is why the producers didn't want to show it to us. Jasmine's mum is there. She didn't say anything, which is good. I think Jasmine asked her not to say anything on camera. I think she just told her, no, if I say yes to this man, this will live on Netflix till eternity, and I don't want him to use this against me in future to say your mom didn't like me and this, that, and the other. So it was good we didn't get to see her be hypercritical about this decision. Bobby was walked down the aisle by his mom, which was cute, and Jasmine was walked down the aisle by her mom, which was also cute because we know that her mom is not really on board with this marriage. Oh, they really looked great. I loved their venue. I loved their setup. It looks like the same setup that was used for Sabrina and Steven. So I don't know whether the producers have a setup for those that are going to say yes and a setup for those that are going to say no. But it looked really cute. I love that both their parents were there. Well, both their mothers were there. And the vows were actually... They're actually cute. They're actually cute, I have to say. For a couple that I wasn't emotionally invested in. For me, I've always questioned whether Bobby was it or whether he was the right guy. I wasn't as hypercritical as, Jasmine's mum, but I'm not too sure about his job. I have to say that. I agree with her on that part, that if they want to start a family, I'm not too sure about his job, whether it pays to be a personal shopper, but then, ignorance at times can hinder progress. And so the fact that he said yes, was I surprised? No. He really seemed smitten. He really seemed to be all in on her. So I'm happy that he said yes. She said yes as well. But I think the producers were trying to make it seem like, she was going to say no because her mother wasn't on board with her getting married to Bobby. Well, that's the way it came across to me. That, they were trying to keep it sort of vague for her to make it seem like she still hadn't decided. But I think they both knew they were going to say yes. There's no doubt in my mind. It was cute when they said yes. And also the fact that after they said yes and they were married and they were walking down the aisle, Bobby stopped and had a conversation with Jasmine's mom to sort of reassure her and tell her that, I will look after your daughter. I will be the best man that I can be, which I thought was very sweet and very endearing because obviously she's not on board with the marriage. So it's good. It's a good thing that he's trying to get her sort of on his side, more or less, to know before, things progress any further. She said she loved him, so I guess she came on board. I think she had concerns, and I think they had a conversation off camera with Bobby, and sort of Bobby was able to sort of address those concerns, be it by telling her roughly how much his job made for him, or telling him about, he did say he didn't go to university, I think. Yeah, because she was saying it's difficult to speak with an uneducated person. I think he must have reassured her. The reassurance, I don't know what reassurance he gave her, but he must have reassured her for her to say, I love you. Or whether she's just saying, I love you because they're already married. There's nothing she can do. She did agree that they do look good together. I think they complement one another. I think their marriage, though, we haven't really seen a lot of it, just like Steven and Sabrina, because of the fact that there hasn't been a lot of drama amongst the two of them. I think if they were fighting, and if there was anything sort of entertaining going on, the producers would have shown us more about that relationship. That way we could have connected more with them. But I think because they were smooth sailing, this is why the producers sort of hid a lot of their sort of pod conversations, a lot of their sort of interactions in their flat before they sort of separated to then come back and meet on wedding day. Am I upset that they got married? No, I'm not. Because I think outside of the job thing, I think they really complement each other. I think they really suit one another. So I'm happy that they chose to say yes. Next is Nicole and Benaya. Nicole and Benaya are the cutest things ever. They are. Because for Nicole and Benaya, I think, this is my thought, Nicole and Benaya, well, Nicole needs someone who's able to sort of empathize, who's patient, who's kind, who's compassionate. And I think this is who Benaya is. So sadly for Benaya, his mom and his sister, though they came down and they met Nicole, they're not able to attend the wedding because his granddad is very sick. So they had to go back. So they left him a letter which made him very emotional. And you can tell that he has been waiting for this day. I think nearly losing Nicole to sort of Sam awakened something within him that made him realize that he was about to lose out on a love that he needed. So you can tell, is ready to say I do. He's got two of his friends who are going to be his groomsmen. They came, they cheered him up, and he really seemed right in the right space of mind. With Nicole came across as very hesitant. I think Nicole was panicked and she was worried because she's already she's been married, she's got a divorce, and then she's made a mistake by saying yes to Sam when that wasn't the best decision for her. So she then was sort of in this space, I think, where she couldn't quite grasp if Benaya was her making a third mistake, because she spoke about the fact that, he's led this nomadic lifestyle and she's worried whether that's what he's going to go back to. I think Nicole grounds Benaya. I think Nicole makes Benaya want to dig down roots somewhere. And so this is something they should have discussed further. Yes, I understand her sort of feeling, or her reservations in that regard, that what if he turns around and says no? What will I do? What if he says he wants to move on and he wants to travel and he wants to do this and the other? And it's always a possibility, just like divorce is always a possibility. Apparently, he spoke about the fact that what if, we get divorced? And for Nicole, this is something she doesn't want to hear because she's already been down this road. She's already been divorced from someone, and I don't think she wants to do that a second or a third time. So she's anxious about that. What do I think? I think they make a cute pairing. Yes, I loved their vows. They were very emotional. They were very sentimental. Nicole looked very anxious. I don't know whether the producers were playing it up a bit more because Benaya could hardly wait to say yes. And so he said yes. It was an obvious yes. He was always going to say yes. For Nicole, there was a slight hesitation. I don't know whether it was the editing or whether it was the producer sort of prompting her when to say yes or no. You could tell Benaya was anxious because he thought she was going to say no. And I don't think his heart could have taken a second heartbreak from Nicole. I don't think he could have taken it because he said she grounds him and he wants to be the best version of himself. I see them having a successful marriage. I think there is possibility that he can afford to give her the lifestyle that she needs because her parents didn't question that. Sadly, her dad wasn't there to walk her down the aisle because of his work, but her mom was able to walk her down the aisle. And her mom seemed very excited and very keen on it. So I can't wait to see them at the reunion and see how well they're doing because it's almost a year since these couples got married. I have so many questions and I don't even know where to start. Okay, so next up is Catherine and Freddie. I have so many questions. So, Freddie, it seems, he's in a good space. He's made his decision. He's bought her some earrings, to match her ring. And it's like, okay, that's sweet. Because I don't think anyone else gave their bride anything, or we didn't see them, whatever they gave their brides. So it was cute to see that he actually gave his bride something. He then had a conversation with his sister. And his sister's worried, which I think was an issue that came up during, the at home stays where they went to visit his family, and the sister was asking him, are you sure she wants you or she wants your assets, more or less? And he spoke about a prenup with her, and she wasn't happy about the prenup. So I give credit to the sister still saying that I think you and Catherine are not on the same page, and they definitely are not. He says, he's a homebody. She likes to go out. He likes the simpler things in life. She likes the bougie lifestyle. And because of this, Fred is now questioning, is she presenting herself as the person she thinks that I want her to be, or is she being her genuine self? And for me, I think she's presenting a representative of herself. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. I don't think Catherine was ever genuine. I think she fell in love with the idea of Freddie when she spoke to him in the pods, and then when she saw how good looking he was, yeah, she did try and play up, and eventually realized that if she plays up, she might lose him. And then she sort of settled herself down once she saw his home and whatever assets that he had. And so for me, I question her a lot. I question her a lot because her reception of her parents is questionable. The way she appears to be unable to stand that man that is her father makes you question why. When her parents came and they were sentimental, the mom was crying. She said, oh, don't cry. And it's like, they are emotional. They've seen you from a child when they adopted you to the woman that you are now. And so to them, you are their child. They've seen you grow. They are emotional that you're now moving on to the next stage of your family, of your life. And they did ask Freddie that, do you see us in the picture when you get married to our daughter? Because I think they, as much as she has abandonment issues from her dad, from her mom leaving her, they also have abandonment issues because they're worried that now that she's married and she's an adult, she's going to abandon us and she's going to forget about us. I didn't like her reception towards them, and it was even worse when the dad walked her down the aisle. She wasn't holding his hand, I think, and when he tried to speak to her about, oh, now I see you've grown into this amazing woman, there was nothing there. She was looking sideways as though he's annoying her, and it's like, why? Why? These people are your parents. Why bring them on the show to embarrass them and disrespect them like that? Why not just come on your own? Even when he walked up to the altar, Freddie shook his hand, but she barely acknowledged him, and was yet was quick to acknowledge Freddie's family, his sister and his mom. And so it makes you question that, how horrible is she? How horrible is she? If she can be that horrible to people that raised her, you can only imagine to people that don't know her. That's just what I'm going to say. The producers are messy. They're messy as hell, because the audacity to have Kat sort of say yes, knowing for the fact that Freddie, what they not sure what Freddie was going to say, because everybody else, we didn't get to see them say yes before they were rejected. So for them to have Kat say yes and then Freddie to say no, that's messy. That really is messy. And she showed her true colors, because once he said no and he went to give her a hug, she said, don't hug me. She whispered to him, don't hug me. And it's like, oh my God, how do you go from love to hate that quick? How couldn't you go from love to despise someone that quick? That tells you that she was putting on an act. She really was. And you could see the relief on his sister's face, because his sister could see through the BS. She could see that Catherine was faking it, and Catherine wasn't being genuine with her brother. So for Freddie, he walked out. He was so distraught because he said his sister's words were playing in his mind. And it's like, as much as what his sister had to say played a part, he already knew he was going to say no. Because Jasmine had her mother in her ear telling her no, but she still went ahead and said yes. So had Freddie really wanted to marry this girl, he would have married her. But I think he saw a lot of red flags that made him just think, nah, this ain't it for me. This isn't it. I would rather not. And so I'm not surprised that, he said no. His friends tried to console him. His sister tried to console him. I give him credit for walking up to her parent and explaining himself, and for Catherine being dismissive towards her dad and saying, I want to be alone. It's like, oh my God, they really spoiled her. I think they must have spoiled her rotten as a kid, and she's just grown up to be an entitled, self-centered person. I don't know her as a person, but the way she treats her parents, she treats them like crap, and I hate that for them because no one deserves to be treated like that by their child. Yeah, Freddie spoke to the mom and dad and said, I hope we're able to work through our differences, and if we can work through our differences, then hopefully we'll be okay. And the parents were on board with that. Even, Catherine's mom was happy because she said it took a lot of guts for him to come and speak to us. So I give him credit for that. And so for Catherine to then turn around and, have a conversation with Freddie and say it will take a lot. She's putting on an act. She really is. And I hope Freddie sort of ends things with her, because I don't think she's one of the nicest people. And I hope seeing herself on TV is going to make her want to make a change, because she's not empathetic. She doesn't come across as empathetic. She comes across as me. Oh, I don't know if I can overcome this. Instead of asking, why did you say no? I was under the impression you're going to say yes, especially after you gave me a gift. No, she didn't. Instead, she decided to talk about the things that upset her, the why she was aggrieved, why she felt some type of way about everything that was going on. And it's like, oh my God, this is not it. This really isn't it, and I think it's time for them to call it quits and move on. I actually feel sorry for Freddie's brother because he has no idea what's going on. He's just away with the fairies. His sister's happy. His mother, you couldn't tell, but I think his family is relieved. I think they are, and I think if they are to get married, Freddie will need an airtight prenup. Otherwise, he's going to cry tears. I actually think it wasn't a bad season for the first, go round for Love is Blind, because they have a 50% marriage rate. In the UK version, because 3 couples said yes, 3 couples said no. Not a bad experiment, really not. And sadly, I think prejudice played a part, especially with Maria and Tom. Tom and Maria should have been a yes. I think the fact that his mum was not on board with him marrying Maria played a big part in him saying no. Yes, they spoke about values. They were aligned on everything outside of the fact that Maria wanted a provider and she wanted to be the nurturer. That's their only difference. That is their only difference. It's totally different to other couples who had a lot more going against them. People like Ollie and Demi and people like Freddie and Catherine. Those 2 couples should never have got married. They should have swapped partners. Maybe that would have been ideal and they would have got married. But with their current partners, they shouldn't have. With Freddie and Catherine, there's too many issues there that need to be addressed. There's too many problems, too many values that don't align. She wants a lifestyle that she wants him to afford for her. She doesn't want to afford the lifestyle. It's different to Maria, who wants somebody who will provide for her and her children. It's not that she wants the latest designer bag or whatever, but she just wants to be a stay-at-home mom and have him pay the mortgage, have him, pay the electricity, the gas, the water, buy the food for the clothes for the children, buy the clothing for the children. That's more or less what she wants. It's totally different to Catherine, who wants this bougie lifestyle. And so I think her and Freddie made the right decision. Freddie did for his own benefit. In regards, Ollie and Demi, Ollie has a lot of things that he still needs to learn. He still needs to grow. For Demi to say, this is not the end of us, sadly it is. In my opinion, it is. I don't think they should say yes to one another. I think it's time for them to move on. I think they will find their person, but their person was not in the experiment, as far as I'm concerned. For Ollie, it was Catherine. For Demi, her person wasn't there. I think maybe she should have gone for Freddie or even Aaron, as much as I don't know what he was saying in the pods, but I think he would have been a better partner for her. But anyway, I digress. I can't wait for the reunion. Apparently the reunion is on Monday. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 10. Bye guys.